So spring is in the air, and there's so many ways that you can feel like you've got this new burst of energy, that your home is revived, that there's some fresh colors, there's a fresh scent. Hopefully by now you've had a chance to declutter and what? Get our downloadable printables at Your Home Wizards.
Oh, are you kidding me? Those are the best things ever.
Oh, by the way, you are?
I'm Eric Stromer.
And I'm Cindy Dole.
And by the way, I'm the proud owner of Downloadable Printables.
Did you get a couple of them?
I got a couple.
So what we're talking about, as we usher in spring, we want to encourage you to get all those to-dos done, and we have what we call our Home Wizards, their checklist, basically.
Well, see, these prevent you from losing the list that you make so that you don't forget things, because they're big enough you can put them on the refrigerator.
Or in a binder.
Or in a binder.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, for example, things like, how do I remember all my passcodes? This is my pet peeve. It drives me crazy. I got the iPhone, the PDA, the computer, the blah, 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 right? And you need 50,000 different passcodes. This keeps them all organized in one nice document, right? Grocery lists, school supply things. I mean, you name it, it's there. Downloadable printables.
On the website,
Right,
yourhomewizards.com.
That's right.
So you just go there and you'll be able to download the PDFs. But what about other things to get ready for spring? For instance, we talked about using the little candies, the Peeps with jelly beans in a square vase, and then put inside that a smaller, like a tumbler, a glass that you use, for instance, fill that with water and the flowers, and now the candy is hiding it, around. But what are some other things that you can do to not only celebrate spring, but maybe entertain with a taste of spring? Now, you said you have some of those antique little teacups.
I
that
do.
Your mom and dad had, maybe, huh?
Well, it was actually Grandma.
Perfect.
And they're amazing. They're delicate. They're dainty.
Vintage.
I bring them out once a year. Thanksgiving, but I would like to do that
Okay,
more.
well,
I mean, don't you think it's silly to not bring the stuff out and use it more than once a year?
It is. And so
Right?
this is a perfect opportunity to have a spring tea party. And the idea is, if you don't have them, you can get them from the thrift store, antique shops, whatever, garage sales, borrow a few from maybe your aunt, grandmother, mother, whatever. And the idea is that they don't have to all match. It can be like this eclectic style mix of teacups and teapots. And now it's kind of setting the stage to have an Easter kind of a garden party. Kind of fun, huh?
Gorgeous.
And then the idea is what you would serve with that are all little finger foods. Little small sandwiches, and maybe little fruits. Maybe you have mimosa, and then you want to have maybe some vintage teaspoons that again are mismatched in a vintage sugar bowl, and all of this sets your stage for truly a delightful spring kind of a garden
lovely little
party.
afternoon. I'm feeling it. And then you sit there, and what do? You smell the breeze.
You smell the breeze.
Because it's going to have the delicious scents of all the flowers that are blooming.
By the way, when you're doing all this, there are certain teas out there. You can go online. And the one in particular I'm thinking of is so clever because it actually has flower petals in the tea. And so it basically, when the hot water, dissolves the tea, the petal kind of opens up. And so now it's like you have this floating, like a pansy, if you will.
It's beautiful, actually.
Have you seen that?
I have,
Yeah.
yeah. And I love those big teapots where you actually put the flowering tea in it, and then it's so visceral, right? To see the thing, and then
and fragrant.
It becomes such a ritual and a nice ceremony to pour that lovely tea.
Yeah.
And then, there's something about tea that's relaxing. It just, the whole process, there's, the Japanese tea ceremony really is lovely, and it makes you kind of slow down and stop going kind of cuckoo.
Mm-hmm.
A little better than the coffee ceremony, which is me just pounding.
Yeah,
Just
this is more about the dining experience as opposed
go.
to just eating out.
There you go.
That's our rule, is that you're not supposed to look at the menu in advance. You're supposed to first just sit down and enjoy the dining experience, and then you can look at the menu.
That's right.
So how about also, if you have some tin cans around the house, you could have a casual brunch outdoors to, again, kind of get the feeling of spring. Maybe it's, soup cans, and you can paint them. Right?
Yeah, again, a little spray paint goes a long way, boy. Those things look great. Just light blue, maybe some light yellow.
Beautiful.
Just spray them up, put the flowers in there with the potting soil, or just water.
And then fill maybe even some moss in a couple of them, because that apple green is such a popular color right now. And that looks so pretty against the pale blue. And then some of the other, maybe get like 6 of these little cans across your table. Be a really nice centerpiece.
Gorgeous.
For your spring.
It's kind of kitschy and country and beautiful at the same time.
Now, one of my really favorite ideas, I love to have kind of a party favor, if you will, for everyone who comes. How about this? Envision at your table to get packages of seeds of all kinds of colorful spring flowers. And at every table setting, each person at your party gets 2 little packets of seeds.
See, that's a lovely parting gift.
Isn't that cute?
That's really cute.
And that could be right by where the forks go, right, or anywhere by the plate, and that's a nice little cue that, hey, spring is coming.
And that's the gift that keeps on giving.
And you can plant them later.
Yes,
Isn't that sweet?
That's a really nice idea. I like that.
Another really easy thing to do if you have these little small little vases of any kind, little bud vases. Maybe they're only about 2 inches tall. You can kind of fancy them up by getting these little crystal lusters that kind of hang down. They're almost like little mini chandeliers, and you put them on top, and it gives it kind of an extra bling, and it just sits on top of the bud vase, and then you put a flower inside. It doesn't look kind of cute?
Yeah, that's really cute.
Yeah.
Love that. Yeah, it just kind of gussies up the traditional bud vase and gives you that chandelier crystal look. That's great. What about what else would you want to do? You could use, I like that idea of the burlap fabric, right?
Yes, very
that kind of
springy.
just can become some kind of a tablecloth setting, or even something to wrap the silverware in with a lovely little lavender bow. There's something about the pastel colors that makes you feel like spring is here, right? It's got that Easter vibe to it a little bit. Very, very pretty.
And again, back to the afternoon tea idea. What about if you had some fancy chairs from inside and you take them outside for a fresh air breakfast or kind of an afternoon tea experience? If you have a little area in the garden.
Sure.
I mean, you have a cute setup with your furniture outside.
That's right.
It's very lovely. You have a nice, canopy tree that covers, give you a little shade, but it really feels nice and it feels fresh and spring-like to be out there like that.
And then I have my fountain going and you hear the little waters in the background. The birds are chirping. It doesn't get better.
It doesn't get better.
No, I'm telling you. By the way, yesterday, I just walked out in the front lawn and sat there and I took pictures of Hazel, my dogs. I did headshots of Hazel.
Cute.
It was so pretty because it was like this beautiful spring afternoon. The winds kind of came up. But that feeling of spring it's just so invasive and beautiful and makes you feel like you want to just kind of sit still for a minute. So to your point about finding a nice area to create these lovely little celebrations of spring, with some finger foods and clearly, like you
like
did
some
mention.
teas.
Well, you mentioned mimosas.
You have to have a little mimosa.
You gotta kind of go there.
You might, or you could have lemonade, but it's nice in a champagne flute.
Yeah.
Either way, How about getting one of those bird cages? If you don't have a bird cage yet, another really fun decorative tool. You can find them at Michael's and different places, the import stores. But then what you do, and they're usually made out of like a wrought iron material of some kind, and then you just put inside whatever you want. It could be a couple little vases with some flowers, or you could create like some moss and make it look and get like one of those little, plastic little cheaps little birds, and it looks like it's a bird with a nest and there's flowers around it. It's almost like it's its own little miniature garden inside this bird cage.
Very, very cute.
Yeah.
I have one of those too. And
you have a bird cage?
I have a bird cage, and then inside that I put a plant.
Right, perfect.
It kind of grows out through the tines of the bird cage. It's really cute.
So now change it up throughout the season. So now bring in some of the tulips or whatever.
Yep.
Here's another really good idea. If you have some of those little egg cups, do you have some of those around the house?
No, I don't.
They're like
where you put the soft-boiled egg, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I do not.
But it's kind of an old vintage thing, and you might find these at antique stores or garage sales. But it's a fun item to keep because it's really great for tabletop and centerpiece ideas, especially for spring, because the egg cups are so short. They're about, I don't know, maybe 5 inches tall at most.
Yeah.
And imagine like it's just the cup of your hand. And then you could put just a short little bouquet of flowers inside. And even if you have a mismatched collection of maybe 5 of these, maybe one of them is a solid color and, one has white with blue on it, whatever it is, it makes a really cute, clever little centerpiece.
Can you imagine the time in history when we would all sit at our table and delicately crack the top quarter of an egg out of an egg cup and scoop it out?
Yeah.
And that was your breakfast?
All right.
I can't imagine doing that now.
You need to slow down.
Yeah, you got to slow down. Now it's just a ladle of scrambled eggs. That's kind of the difference, I think.
Here's another great idea for your springtime centerpiece and table decor. If you have some mismatched crystal glasses, maybe you have some that were handed down, again, kind of vintagey. Maybe you found some at a garage sale, or you have some that you've inherited or bought yourself. There's something about taking that vintage crystal glass and just taking a simple pastel color ribbon, right, and maybe even a wine glass charm at the bottom, and just tie that at the base,
yeah,
and it just feels more spring-like. like
Very
all
cute.
pink or all pale blue. It's just a very clever, spring-like, great way to have a nice little party, right?
Now don't forget. So every Sunday, my mom and dad show up for dinner. They bring these little mini cupcakes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Cupcakes, adoring like a little cake plate with some beautiful flowers in the center.
Sweet.
You show up with that as a gift, or put that on the table after the dinner with the spring color icing, the light pink, the light blue. Oh my goodness, the kids go nuts.
When am I coming over? You didn't tell me about this secret.
You can sleep over. I mean, that's something you want to be there early for. Trust me.
Well, we have some more ideas to really bring in spring, to feel like, you can have people over and you're excited about the new season. We've got some more fun things you can do in the place you call home. Eric Stormer, Cindy Dole, you're listening to Home Wizards.
I have to celebrate you, baby.
I want to have people over for a spring party, and there's something about having the color of the pastels and flowers and, tea and maybe even some champagne, a little sandwiches, and just feels so fresh.
I might even go crustless sandwiches.
Crustless sandwiches.
Yeah, who needs those pesky
See?
crusts?
Love
Don't
it.
want them. Hey, when I was a kid, I had this amazing lilac bush that would show up outside of our bedroom window, right? And every time spring was just about to happen, these things would bloom, and that smell, the fragrance of the lilac.
Oh, so sweet, huh?
I just love that. And anytime you can feature that, in a vase or in a centerpiece where you get the floral element to it. Oh, God, I just love it.
By the way, that's Eric Stromer, and I'm Cindy Dole, and this is Home Wizards. And thanks for sharing your day with us, because we love to make you feel good about where you live. And right now we're just kind of figuring out a way to, wherever you call home, to make it look and feel like spring, and maybe even have some people over to celebrate. And so setting the stage, for maybe some nibbling. You talked about how your folks on Sundays bring little miniature cupcakes over.
Yeah, that's cute too. They're like, honey, this is the place that won on the cupcake show, Cupcake Wars. We think these are really good. Try these. So they'll always experiment and bring new ones.
That's
really,
cute.
really cute, and the kids love them.
Cupcake
and
Wars.
it's the mini ones,
Yeah.
So you eat 9 and you still feel like maybe I'm not a pig.
Right.
Because they're tiny.
Sure. Of course. Of course.
Yeah.
But that little teeny tiny finger food is so cute.
Yeah, isn't it?
And in terms of setting the stage to decorate for this feeling of spring, I love the idea of having some of these different spring centerpieces, and why not have some candy filled favors, like getting some of these paper covered boxes that you can find at the different stationery stores or even the artsy craft stores, or you can even make it yourself. By the way, you can buy those Chinese takeout boxes.
Oh, yeah.
By the dozen.
Yeah.
And now you could either use them as is or cover them with some kind of, decorative paper, and then fill them with chocolates and jelly beans, and then maybe put like a little nest of tissue paper and then some shredded papers, and tuck maybe a little small silk blossom in the middle. And that's a cute little thing that everyone could have at their table.
Yeah, and why not buy some of the stuff now, because Easter's right around the corner. You're going to be doing it again anyway, so you might as well just have it now and throw a little party a couple of weeks before the Easter celebration, right? And then you have it left over, and you can use it for your next thing when the big ham shows up, which again, I can't stop
You
talking
can't wait.
about. Yeah.
How about creating a spring nest? You can decorate your table with basically dampened moss that you can find at the arts and crafts or garden centers, and then you put it in a medium-sized bowl. Just picture you're creating your own little nest, and then on top of that green moss, now you get some of those speckled candy eggs, the robin's eggs.
Yeah.
This is going to be hard for me because that's my favorite.
Well, they're all
sneak.
edible. That's a
I
problem.
know, because I love robin's eggs.
Yeah, you want to watch the edible centerpieces because they end up getting consumed.
I know, but anyway, if you can be brave, the speckled candy eggs in the center, and then maybe put some little flowers delicately in there. It's very cute. Nice little spring touch.
Very nice.
Yeah, very delicate and easy. A photo vase is another really clever thing that you can do. It's a nice party favor for spring. You basically take a mason jar, any kind of a vase that you have, and you glue photos either from a magazine or family photos, that you've printed out, and you glue them to the walls of this jar, facing out. Right?
Sure. You don't even have to glue them. You can just lay them in there.
Lay them in
want.
there.
Yeah.
And then you put some flowers inside. Very, very sweet, very colorful, and it could be a nice little parting gift.
That's a great way to honor folks that maybe aren't with us anymore, too. It could be like, there's Grandma. Look, she's in the vase, everybody, and the spring is here, and there's new life, but Grandma's
She's
passed
watching
away.
over you.
Yeah.
How about also some great other favor ideas as you're thinking about some spring entertaining. It becomes the centerpiece, but then people get to take it home. You know those little teeny tiny terracotta pots that you can find?
Sure.
I mean, they're teeny tiny. It's maybe, like an inch or so across and about 2 inches tall at the most.
Yeah.
And you would just stamp inexpensive containers, with the initials of the guests. You could even find the initials.
And then they can take it home with them.
You can take it home,
Right.
and then inside those little terracotta containers, you fill again with a taste of spring. It could be seeds, little packages of flower
See,
seeds.
I love that idea.
It could be other little candies or goodies, maybe a little notepad. Isn't that cute?
Very
A little
nice.
spring thing that they can take home.
Anytime you can show up, have a free dinner, and then get to take stuff home, that's my kind of party.
You're done.
I'm done.
Yeah. Again, some of these things that are so simple, it's all about using things that are either from the candy section of the store, the produce section, your favorite flower and garden center, and then knickknacks you have around the house. And that's as easy as it gets. Maybe add a little ribbon, a little something, done.
Yeah, and I do love, I think you talked about it before, but having the upholstered chairs out in the garden along with the centerpiece and the great table setting. So it just sort of like appears, it's like it's been dropped from your living room outside in nature. It's so pretty, I think. I love that.
Another really clever trick that designers use is focus not only on clear vases, but white vases. Now, so when you're out and about going to some of these garage sales, do you have any of these white ceramic vases?
I do.
Okay. The solid
It's
white.
monochromatic. I love that.
Totally.
Yeah.
And you can find them inexpensively, or maybe it's a vintage version. It might be kind of that milky white glass that you see, right?
Yeah.
But think of having roses inside a white vase. It's so simple, but there's something about it where it pops the color just a little bit more than just being in a clear vase.
Sure. And if you don't have white stuff, you can spray paint white the clear stuff.
You could.
Yeah.
But try that. I mean, that's very easy, very
Well, yeah,
simple.
then it's like an art gallery. Then the flower becomes the featured thing, and you're not being distracted by the pattern on the vase, which I think is really pretty.
Another fun takeaway gift that you could give everyone at your garden party, at your spring, celebrate spring party, especially if everyone is a gardener or they like to do crafts, is to give everyone at their table setting their own flower arranging supply kit. And it could be as simple as getting a little vase, getting some of that floral tape, the floral foam, some wire snippets, some string, put all together. And isn't that a cute? And maybe some ribbon.
That's it.
And then
so
their
you're,
name
you're
tag.
teaching folks to do it themselves, and they can go home with again
They've got
another
the
parting
makings.
gift.
They've got, and they can put all together in
Man,
that
I'm coming to
vase.
your house. You just keep giving stuff away. This is beautiful.
And back to the white vases. As you're thinking about getting some of these white vases, I hope that you will get maybe several different heights, because that is one of the tricks of a lot of, floral arrangement designers is to have, one tall one shorter one, and one really small one. And again, picture in all white containers with white roses or maybe pinks and yellows.
God, it's just all showing up, isn't it? Love it. Yeah, it's like proscenium seating. You want the tall stuff in the back, and then the shorter, squatter stuff in the front, so you can really get a great view of everything.
Now, if you are a crafty person, do you like getting that Mod Podge? It's a kind of a thick, pasty glue. Have you ever gotten that with the kids?
I've used it a bit, yeah.
Okay. If you go to the fabric store, if you want to create this white vase and you haven't been to you don't have one, and you aren't going to a garage sale or an antique store, but you have a fabric store nearby, you get some of that white eyelet fabric, the kind where it looks like there's a little cutout in
Sure.
it, right? You've seen women's dresses, girls' dresses in that, but you get very inexpensively just like a yard or a small amount of it, and you glue this white eyelet fabric to whatever vase you have. And now you put your flowers inside, and it's going to look really springy. And again, it could be a parting gift, a party favor.
Okay, you got my attention again. You're giving more stuff away.
Now, something that's really simple and it's very clever is to use buttons for your decor. Do you have a lot of buttons around the house?
I have, yeah, they keep falling off the shirts. And
Okay.
they give you the extra one
You
that you
save
have
them?
inside the shirt, but I
Yeah.
always pull that one out because it bugs me.
So now you probably don't. Well, you might have a purple button or a yellow button. You probably have white,
I
but
got
I
white-
bet
I
that
have white
we're going to
buttons.
have to take the buttons from Willow, I'm afraid. The spare
Yes.
from her pink dresses. We need pastel buttons.
What if the poor girl doesn't have any buttons anymore because I've
Well,
crafted everything?
She can borrow them from this bowl. So you're going to
Right.
basically get all the buttons you can, or maybe you go buy buttons and then you put them in one of these white bowls, and it's a really pretty party favor.
That's nice.
Because you're seeing purples and pinks and yellows and whites, and it's as simple as buttons. And hopefully, it's buttons you have sitting around the house
Sure.
in a white bowl. And it's just, very clever, very simple. You're done for spring.
I like it.
Yeah.
Very, very pretty. And then even things like over the fireplace, you can do, I like switching out the fireplace mantle as the place where you can honor all these different holiday seasons, right?
Uh-huh.
Same thing with spring, switch out the frames. They go to white all of a sudden. That you've kind of knocked some of the paint down off of things with your white vases, your beautiful flowers that pop, and the pot full of grass and the
Love
the moss
that.
feel. It's
Yeah.
great. It just shows off that here we are. We're honoring spring and we're all in here together.
And you don't have to always have flowers, by the way. It can be as simple as just some fern fronds that you might be able to get at either a florist shop or clip some from a plant that you might have. But you put them in a footed vase, a clear vase, and then you pack these fronds upright. And it's really inexpensive, and it requires just a massive stems, but it looks very fresh and spring-like.
Very pretty. Yep.
But we'll put this on the website, as always, at yourhomewizards.com. You're listening to Home Wizards. Eric Stromer, Cindy Dole. We love to improve your home and improve your life.
If you brought